Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet Radio show right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Today we have with us a special guest. We have Thomas Sartor of the German metal band Profanity. Now, like I said, Thomas is coming to us from Germany, and he's going to do his best to answer our questions for us in English. And this is an in-depth interview to find out more about the band, learn more about their history, and find out more what's going on with them. So, Thomas, give us the history behind the band.
Well, so let's walk through a bit of the history of Profanity, but I think it will take me quite a while to get this question answered, because next year we will have 25 years of existence. And what shall I say? I can't believe it. This also means, of course, time just flies, and it flies so fast. So speaking about time is flying, this means also that I am now at the age of 40, and when Profanity was founded by myself, I was 16 years old, and this was 93. It all started in a suburb of Augsburg, which is a German city very close to Munich. And I just had finished school, and I thought that the time was right to start my own band, because before Profanity I was in a band called Solace, and the music was kind mixture of bolt thrower, grave, but I always wanted to go more into the brutal and technical stuff, kind of death metal. So I decided to quit this band and to start Profanity. So back in 93 I was totally into music that bands like Suffocation, D-Side, Morbid Angel, Death, Nocturnus, also Obituary had played, and also I have to mention Monstrosity. This was the music I was into at this time, and I started to create my own vision of the music of Profanity, of how Profanity should sound. So I tried to find the right people who wanted to go with me. But where I live here in Germany, it was quite hard to find the right people. But after a while, I got in contact with a bass player, a guitar player, of course, and a drummer. And so we started to write our own first songs together. So with this lineup, we had recorded 2 demo tapes. The first one came out 94. The name was The Transitory. And the second one came out in 95, and it was called Into the Unforeseen. Both demos were recorded by ourselves and also, of course, self-released. But the music on both demos has not really much in common with the music we play today. The reason for this was quite simple, because everybody of that lineup back in the days had different influences concerning the musical taste. And so the music on both demos was a mixture of death, some black metal, and also some doom and gothic metal. But to be honest, this was not my vision of how profanity should sound. So the only way out for me was to search for a new lineup. So we came to the conclusion that it would be maybe better to part ways so that everybody can play the music he wanted to play at this time. So the only one who stayed with me was the guitar player. His name was Mike. And so we went on to find new members. We were searching for a drummer and a bass player. What concerns the bass player, fortunately at this time I knew about one, and the only problem was he already had a band. The other problem was, or maybe a good thing, I don't know exactly, that a good friend of mine was also playing in this band guitar. And we were talking about Martin is the name of the bass player, Martel, and the music of the of this band was not that kind of music that Martel wanted to play, the music that came out from his heart. So we organized a meeting all together because I definitely wanted not to steal the bass player from this band, and so we organized a meeting. We got all on one table and were talking about this issue, if Martin maybe wants to join Profanity. So fortunately, it turned out all very friendly, in a very friendly way, and Martin became the new bass player of Profanity. I guess it was back in the end of 95 or in the beginning of 96. I can't exactly remember. And this means so much to me because Martin is a death metal freak maniac from the heart. So this was also a very important time for Profanity because Martin and I were speaking so much about our vision of how should Profanity sound, or in which direction we should go with our sound. And the absolutely great thing was Martin was listening to the same bands I was, and we both were pushing ourselves the whole time. And for us, it was for sure we want to play some weird death metal music, and definitely always pushing the boundaries and go towards our limits, and also push our limits. So what concerns the lineup situation in 96 for Profanity, at this point of time we had a guitar player. His name was Mike, as I said before, and this crazy death metal freak called Martin on bass guitar, and myself on guitar and vocals. So we just needed to find a good drummer, but we knew that this was very, very difficult to find a good drummer in our area where we lived at this time. What I can remember is that Martin and I were totally stoked by the latest release of Marvel creation called Eternal, and on this release there was a song, or there is a song entitled Blood Brothers, and Dave Koolros is playing drums on this masterpiece, and man, I can tell you those double bass at the beginning of this song, we were just blown away, and for us it was for sure that we definitely needed a drummer who can play such fast double bass. Maybe it was destiny at this time, but fortunately the girlfriend of Martin knew a drummer who could handle those double bass technique and also blast beat and stuff and everything you need to be a good death metal drummer. And she managed to get in contact with him, and so I got his phone number, and I tried him to call a few times, but no one was on the phone. But I can remember one day his mother was on the phone, and she told me he is in the army, in the German army service at the moment, and he will be back in 2 months, and maybe we can call again. So Martin and I were just thinking about, oh man, we have to wait another 2 months to speak with him directly. But we of course did it. And so 2 months later, we got a call with Armin, and we managed to get a meeting together. And so he visited us in our old practice room, and we got there an old drum kit. And yeah, this was a very, very exciting moment for us all, I think. I know. So after jamming for about, I guess, 1 hour, or maybe even less, it was sure for all that this is the perfect drummer for us, and it was so exciting for all of us. Martin, Mike, and I were just totally happy that we have found this crazy and very gifted drummer, so we could finally go on writing new songs, and we all knew that we are now finally able to play the music that we always wanted to play. So after we knew that we had now a complete Profanity lineup, our main goal was to write new songs and also, of course, to record our first full-length release, and also, of course, to play live shows as much as possible, because this is one of the main reasons why we are playing music, because we definitely wanted to bring on stage. Unfortunately, after some months being a 4-guy member band, Mike decided to quit because he didn't felt very comfortable with the music we were playing at this time. So we decided to move on as a 3-piece, and this is how we stayed until today. To sum it up, what the Profanity lineup concerns, Armin and I were always there from 96. And what concerns the bass player situation, it's very easy to tell because there were some changes. The first was Martin quit in 97, and the new bass player was Daniel, and Daniel stayed with us until 2000. Then Martin rejoined, and Martin stayed with us until 2014, and since 2014 Daniel rejoined again, and Daniel stayed until 2016, and until 2016, the end of 2016, we have a very, very awesome bass player, and his name is Lucas.
So Thomas, how would you describe your music?
To get it to the point, the term technical death metal fits best to our music, I would say. But I also think that our music is much more than just technical death metal. If you want, I think you can explore many things in our music. Some are bigger and maybe some are smaller. I think this makes it maybe for some people very interesting to listen to our music. You will never know what comes next because we don't have so-called classical song structures. So this is definitely such a great thing for me while writing music for Profanity, because there are definitely no rules and also no boundaries. You just can do what you want. This is what I like pretty much. For me, it's like creating a picture. Mostly I can hear our music in my mind and I just have to write it down, maybe change something here and there. I just love this creative process. Of course, music is always a question of the personal taste, no doubt about it. And there is also no wrong or false. But I think as long as music touches you, I guess you know what I mean, then everything is just perfect. So let me tell you some examples for those we say mostly heart ripping out moments, like the song "Dechristianize" from Vital Remains. I mean, when the guitar solo starts, this is such an epic moment, and I think it totally touches you, and it's just phenomenal. Or like the song "Netherworld" from Solstice, when the keyboard starts, and oh, this is so good stuff. And also to mention, of course, Suffocation for me and for all of Profanity. The whole EP, Despise the Sun, and this is so, it's much more than only extreme and brutal music. It totally touches me, and it just carries you. And this is what we also want to try with our music, that it touches you.
So what's the current lineup of the band, and what were they doing prior to Profanity, and how did you all get the gig with the band, including yourself?
So the actual Profanity lineup consists of Armin Hassmann on drums, and he's a great guy. He is my death metal brother for so many years now, and I think I have told you how he was getting into profanity in a question before. So above all, we are very, very good friends, and I think we went together through many ups and downs through all these years, and I'm so happy that I can do the music we both love most together with him, and I really hope that we still have some good years coming for both of us. So on bass guitar we have Lukas Heidinger, and he joined Profanity only a few months ago. It was in the beginning of 2017, right after we had recorded The Art of Sickness, and he's a very gifted bass player, and we're totally happy about it that we had found him. Besides Profanity, Lukas has also his own recording studio, and he also plays in several bands. One is called Distaste. It's a grindcore band from Austria, very, very extreme. So check it out. And the other band is called UGF, and Lukas is playing their guitar, I guess. Yes, it's guitar. And in the band Distaste, he's also playing guitar. But he can also play drums. So he is a musician by heart. Also, not to forget about to mention, Lukas played also in the death metal band God Hate Code, with German lyrics, also very, very extreme. Lukas is very, very busy, always with music, and as I said before, it's a very good thing that he is, or that he has joined Profanity, and he's also a freak, a freak on stage, and so we are very looking forward to write new songs with him, and also to play more live shows with him. What concerns myself, I was before Profanity in a band called Justice many, many years ago. It was more a kind of a school band, and where we did our first musical steps, I would say. After Justice, I joined Solace, and this was, like I said before, a mixture of Grave, Bolt Thrower, and Massacre, and we only did one demo tape. And since '93, I'm playing guitar and do the vocals with Profanity.
So, Thomas, what releases do you have out prior to The Art of Sickness?
Our first CD, which was a self-release, came out in 1997 with the title Shadows to Fall. The next Profanity release was in 1999, and this was a split 7-inch called Drowned in Dusk with our friends from Lividity. And this was also our first cooperation with a German label, Kutschel Agency. So in 2000, we recorded at Brick House Studio again our second full-length CD, Slaughtering Thoughts, also for the German Cultural Agency again. And I would say we were very happy with the result at this time. We were getting even a bit closer to our vision of extreme music with that release. Around the millennium time until 2004, we played as much as possible. I think it was around 45 until 50 shows per year, about for 3 or 4 years, and it was definitely too much because we felt there was almost no time left for writing any new songs. I think you always have to be prepared for live shows and always keeping you in good shape. And of course, we had and still have to go to work 40 hours per week, and this makes it definitely not easier for us. So in 2002, we recorded another 7-inch with the title You Made Me Flesh, because we got the great chance to support Cryptopsy and Hemorrhage on their European tour, and I can tell you this was just a fantastic time for all members of Profanity. It was of course also very hard, but this was definitely one of those so-called highlights in the life cycle of a band. So to give you some more informations about what was going on in all these years, right after the release of You Made Me Flesh, as I said before, it was quite a very busy time for us until 2004. So in 2004 we still played at the awesome Maryland Dev Fest, which was absolutely amazing for us, of course. And right after we got home from this trip, we decided to make a break and to concentrate 100% on writing new stuff. We had started writing new songs already in 2002, but the writing process was very slowly because of playing all the live shows. What we didn't know at this time, that this break would last 8 years until we get back on stage. Until 2006, we had written 8 songs with a playing time of 60 minutes, and it was actually always planned to release these songs as Hatred Hell Within, but just a normal life took place, I would say. We got married, children were born, and we made also further educations at school. I started a further education as electrical engineer in 2006, besides my normal work. This lasted until 2010, and in these 4 years I definitely had no time for Profanity. We only got it managed to do some rehearsals. I would say maybe 10 in 4 years. Can't exactly remember. In these 4 years, so from 2006 until 2010, also 2 of our 3 girls were born, and Armin, for example, did also further education from 2008 until 2010, so many years here throwing around. So Martin started also a new job, but for us it was for sure definitely not to end up with profanity. In these years, as I said before, we only did some rehearsals to keep the fire burning, and that unfortunately was it. But what we also knew that we still had 8 songs plus a new one, which is called Melting. I had written this song in 2010. Uh, I guess it was in 2011, and we all got together and we talked about why not to spend again more time for profanity and to record finally all these songs. So we did it and it felt great. We all started to practice again, and in 2012 we had our first live show since 2004 in Switzerland. This was absolutely amazing, standing with my friends again on stage. We bought some recording equipment because for us it was sure that we will not be able to spend a week or two in a studio because of our families and jobs. Um, so we did all by ourselves at home, but this was also a very long and hard way. I mean, every day coming back home from work, then bringing the kids to bed, and after that start to record again, and maybe for only 1 or 2 hours. So this is not so easy when you have little kids. But for us, this was the only chance to get our songs recorded. Until the end of 2013, Martin had recorded 3 songs. These songs are named Melting, Hatred, Hell Within, and I'm Your Soul. But at this time, everything had changed again. Martin and his family got the opportunity to move to Australia. His wife is from there. It was a very hard decision, and so they made it. We lost our friend and also our bass player, and at this time we also had to cancel all shows, unfortunately, which were already confirmed at this time. We didn't know what to do, but we had great luck again. Daniel, who was already in Profanity from 97 until 2000, was immediately ready to play the bass again in Profanity. We have never thought of this, to be honest, but maybe this was destiny. We all talked about which way we shall go, so we decided that we all wanted to play live again as fast as possible. But that meant also that Daniel had to learn our live set, and we couldn't go on with recording. So this was the birth, I would say, of the idea why not to release these 3 songs which were already recorded. The cover was already done at this time, and I only had still to record some guitar parts and the vocals, and then so that's it. And so Hatred Hell Within was released at the end of 2014 by the German record label Rising Nemesis Records. So, but we still had 6 songs from that time with a playing time of 40 minutes still to record. And these songs you can hear on our latest release, The Art of Sickness. which was released by Apostasy Records in April 2017.
Okay, so Thomas, so what is your current record label? How long have you been with them? How many releases do you have with them? And why did you choose them as a label in the first place?
Our current record label is Apostasy Records from Germany, and the owner of the label is Tomasz Wisniewski, and he's an absolutely great guy. He's very passionate and totally dedicated to extreme music and to death metal, of course. Tomasz is also the singer of the German death metal band Dawn of Disease. So, and they are around since many years, and so he knows the scene also very, very good. So actually we made the contract with Apostasy Records in the beginning of, I guess it was 2016, and so until now they have released our latest CD, The Art of Sickness, in April 2017. So until now, this is the only release they have put out so far of Profanity. We think, and we are also totally convinced of, that Apostasy Records is a very, very good label, and I think this was the best choice we could have done. So, for example, one of their basic principles is their theme: music is not just a product, but a passion. And this fits very, very good towards our own attitude to the music scene and music in general.
So Thomas, tell us some of the bands that you played with, and what are some of the tours and shows you have done?
So next year we can celebrate 25 years of existence of Profanity, and this means, of course, that we have played a lot of shows in all these years and shared stage with a lot of bands. So, for example, we played 2 shows with the Mighty Cannibal Corpse. We played also with Suffocation, Sinister, Vader, Cryptopsy, Misery Index, Necrophagist, Broken Hope, Defeated Sanity, Purgatory. I think the list will be endless. We also had the great opportunity to play very cool festivals like the awesome Factor Commerz festival here in Germany, also Partisan Festival. We also got the chance to play at the Mountains of Death Festival in Switzerland. In the beginning of, I think it was 2000, we also played the Obscene Extreme Festival in Czech Republic. And for us, it was also such a big pleasure that we could play the Maryland Death Fest in 2004. So then we had this little break, and the latest festivals we have played so far are, for example, the Netherlands Death Fest, the Death Feast Open Air here in Germany. This year we have played so far the Ranger Rock Open Air in Flammen Open Air, which was absolutely beautiful by this great place they have there in Torgau. And we played the Stonehenge festival in the Netherlands, and we played also at the Metal Czech Death Fest, and this was also a totally insane, absolutely phenomenal, great open air. And so we are very looking forward for the next coming shows this year, and hopefully also next year we can play such festivals, and we also hope that we can maybe be a part of a tour, but we will see what the future will bring for us.
Let's talk a little bit more about the album, The Art of Sickness. So explain to us the writing process prior to recording.
So for The Art of Sickness, we have recorded these 6 remaining songs, and the whole CD has a playing time of a little bit more than 40 minutes. So this means that every song on this record is at least 6 minutes long, and there are also songs which are going to 8 minutes. About the lyrics, they were all written by Martin, our ex-bass player, and he is still very important for us. He did also the whole layout for the digipack for The Art of Sickness, and we are also very happy about it that he also played bass on the song Mouth of Nepotism, which really means a lot for us. He is doing pretty much in the background for Profanity, so he will always be a member of Profanity. Even he can't be with us physically, but music has no boundaries. I can't tell you much about the lyrics, but what I know is that they are very, very personally and have something to do with some experience Martin has made in his life. And I think if someone wants to know more about it, we have also printed all the lyrics in the booklet, so it's just more exciting to make your own thoughts about it.
So how does the title, The Art of Sickness, pertain to the content of the album itself?
So I would say that the title, The Art of Sickness, just fits perfect to the music which is on this CD. Our music is, of course, art, and our music is also extreme, brutal, technical, very complex, and also very hard to play. So you can also say maybe it's sick. So I think it's a great combination of words, the title The Art of Sickness, which reflects just perfectly our music and our vision of extreme music.
Now, did you guys have any guests on the album? And who were they, and why did you choose them to be on this album?
Yes, we definitely have some great guest musicians on The Art of Sickness. The project, I would say, guest musicians on The Art of Sickness gained in the course of time more and more of dynamism, I would say, because it was actually not planned to have final 4 guest musicians on this record. The only thing we had known right from the start was that Martin will definitely play the bass on one song. So, as I said before, this song is called Mouth of Nepotism. Then at least the idea came up, we still could ask someone else who means also much to us. So, of course, Adrie of the Mighty Sinister came very quickly in our minds. We have known each other for so many years now, and we are also very good friends. So it was quite natural to ask him for some guest vocals. This action was preceded by the idea that we were playing Catatonia from Suffocation live at a common concert in Austria with Sinister, which had then but unfortunately not worked out for some time reasons. But for that, Adrie is now singing in the song Better Left Alone. We already knew Christian Münzner from his time at Defeated Sanity, and of course in Necrophagist, Obscura, and at the moment he's playing in Alkaloid. And we just wanted to have Chris with us because we also have some very nice memories with him. So I just asked Chris if he could imagine a guest solo for the next Profanity album, and then he immediately said yes. Of course, to our great pleasure. Chris is an absolutely gifted, awesome guitarist, and I can say that his guest solo has become absolutely great. This solo you can hear in the song called Also Better Left Alone. As far as a collaboration with the awesome Mr. Terence Hobbs from Suffocation and Ricky Myers from Disgorge concerns, to tell the truth, we were completely knocked out. So we would have never expected this in life, that something like this could become reality. We had the great opportunity to play with Suffocation at the same day at the awesome Death Feast Open Air back in 2016 in Germany. So, of course, we took advantage of this great opportunity and got in contact with them. All the people of Suffocation were kind of friendly to us, and so from that day on, the idea was born to ask Terence and Ricky if they would like to be our guests on our next release. I contacted Terence as well as Ricky if they would not want to make a small contribution to the next Profanity CD. So both of them immediately agreed, and we could not believe it. But after a few weeks, the recordings of both came, and Christoph from Iguana Studios added it to the songs in his studio. So what I have still to say, for me as a guitar player and Suffocation fan for so many years, was and is the solo of Terence Hobbs, of course, just outstanding. I mean, when we started Profanity, Suffocation were our heroes, and if someone would have told us that Terence Hobbs will be somewhere heard on a Profanity CD, never ever. The song Terence is playing a guitar solo and Ricky is singing is called Recreating Bliss. So with all the guest musicians, we have a very close friendship now, and love and devotion to extreme music. To us, to be honest, it means so much to have these great people on our record.
So Thomas, where was this recorded and why did you choose that studio? And who produced it and why did you choose them to do so?
The Art of Sickness was recorded, mixed and mastered by the awesome guy named Christoph Brandes in his awesome Iguana Studios in Germany. So the Art of Sickness has definitely the sound we were always searching for, but until the Art of Sickness, unfortunately, we never got. I mean, we all in Profanity like the sound of masterpieces like, of course, I have to say, Despise the Sun from Suffocation, Human from Death, Conquering the Throne from Head Eternal, and so on, but also great stuff like Epitaph from Necrophagist. So I think Christoph Brandes from the Iguana Studios was and is just the perfect guy for us to get our music recorded. He is also responsible, for example, Epitaph from Necrophagist, and he definitely knows how to handle complex and weird death metal music. So he was the best choice we could have done. I think the sound on The Art of Sickness is very heavy and also very punchy at the same time, and you can also hear every instrument out of it. We put so much hard work and time and all our love to death metal in these new songs, so that this issue was of course very important for us. For example, what also concerns the bass sound. On many records you can see in the lineup or read even in the booklet that there is a bass player, but unfortunately you often can't hear the bass. I think this is such a pity. We all in Profanity are total bass lunatics, so I think you can really hear on The Art of Sickness what crazy stuff is going on the bass guitar. This time I finally had also the guitar amp I always wanted to have. It is a Herbert, one of the monsters of diesel guitar amplifiers from Germany. And to tell the truth, this was just so insane. We put up everything for recording, and Christoph placed the microphones, in front of the cabinet, and we just couldn't believe it what we were hearing. It sounded so good from the very beginning on until now. This was something I have never experienced before. That was one of such moments when you just get thrilled. So what you can hear on our latest release is pretty much this guitar sound after only some minutes tweaking around with it. We couldn't find any better sound at this moment. Also what concerns the drums, we wanted them to sound quite natural, not too overproduced, and I think Christoph just nailed it down, and he has also the name 110% Christoph, and I can only agree he's just awesome.
So Thomas, tell us a little bit about the cover art and the artist.
It was actually planned that the same artist, Federico Musetti from Italy, who had already made the cover for the EP Hatred Hell Within should also make the cover for The Art of Sickness. Unfortunately, we lost contact with him, and so we had to look for another artist. The title had already been fixed for a long time, and we knew that it has to be a cover which just fits, which should just fit perfectly to our music and of course to the title. So we are all great fans of Per Olofsson from Sweden, and that was the next address we got in contact. Actually, he would have had an artwork for us at the same time, but we were not sure if that would fit that perfect to the title. We had then discussed and thought about it, and then we decided to make a completely new artwork that just fits like perfect to the title. In a certain way, there's also a link to the cover of Hatred Hell Within. On Hatred Hell Within is a man to be seen who is attached to these chains, and on The Art of Sickness is this powerful cross that is to be seen in the middle. Maybe that is the connection, but you can make, of course, your own thoughts about it. So Per has created such a great artwork, and I hope that we can do another artwork with him again for the next Profanity release. He's an awesome artist.
So what formats is this going to be released on, and where can people purchase it?
You can get The Art of Sickness physically as a digipack, but you can also get it on several internet services like iTunes, Spotify, Apostasy Records, Bandcamp, of course, and you can also buy it on EMP, Amazon, Nuclear Blast, and I think there are many ways to get it.
Now, will you be doing any more touring this year?
So what concerns touring for Profanity in this year, I think there is no more chance to get on a tour this year. This year is already planned, and summer is almost gone. So in the autumn of this year, we will have still have some club shows that we are very looking forward to play. But we definitely want to go on tour. So maybe next year there will be a chance for us. But yeah, we will see what the future will bring for us. And yeah, we would be ready.
What sites can people go to learn more about the band, Thomas?
So I think the easiest way would be you can just type into Google Profanity death metal, and Google will give you a list of several web pages where you can find all the information about Profanity. Of course, we have our own website. This is just profanity.de for Germany, and of course we are also very active on Facebook. So you can also check us out on Facebook. We have an Instagram account. We have also a Twitter account as well as a Google account. So if you want to get in contact with us, I think this should be definitely no problem at all.
So thank you, Thomas, for taking the time out to do this in-depth interview with us here tonight on the Metal Magdalene with Jet, and we wish you all the best with the new album and your tours and everything you have going on. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
So, Jet, I want to say thank you so much for giving us the opportunity here to speak here about profanity and our music, and this is of course highly appreciated, and it was a big honor for me to answer all your questions. So have a great time, and maybe we will get someday the chance to play in the States again after so many years, and maybe there's also a chance to meet in person, or in real life. And yeah, so just let the metal flow, and thank you very much for your time, for everything, and for your great support for Profanity.